Yo, Joburg, everybody. My name is Steve, and this is a special, out of the blue, impromptu GI Joburg video/chat discussion. Yeah, we're coming to you unscripted because the most incredible news that we, in our heart of hearts, dared to dream was just lurking around the corner, ever so close, but just out of reach. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Super 7. The company that has brought us reaction GI Joe figures for the past 3 years has the ability, the desire, and now the opportunity to produce O-rings. The company that gave us these is going to be able to pivot and give us these. Is this exciting news? Is this news that you need to treat with some trepidation? We're going to talk about it in a very quick, and as I say, impromptu, unscripted chat. You don't have to hear me monologue the whole time. I've also brought my buddy from GI Joburg. It's Paul, Deadly Pencils Lobsher.
How's it, guys?
To put things in perspective, I got the news when I woke up this morning, 6 a.m. Australian time. The news had already been out for sort of 3 hours before that. Paul, did you get the news before you went to bed in SA?
Yeah, I mean, when I sent you a video, like, what was it? It was like 1 o'clock this morning, I think it was, around there, or midnight.
Paul's still waking up.
I'm still waking up because I only got to bed at like 4 o'clock this morning. So, yeah, I mean, it was pretty quick. I saw Pixel Dan had done like some coverage, and that was really, really cool. So
Pixel Dan got the scoop. He broke the news. Brian Flynn appeared on Pixel Dan's channel and unveiled the big info that yes, actually, in lieu of Hasbro putting their O-ring initiative to rest, or it is now at rest, whatever the verbiage. This was Emily's press statement. That O-rings are now greenlit to be produced by Super 7. They are looking to do a release this time next year, sort of fourth quarter. Brian Flynn, he specified there would be fall in the United States, which equates to about springtime here in the southern hemispheres. And that he would be doing deep cuts, just like the reaction line. It'll be Sunbow-inspired figures. It'll also be Deke-inspired figures. He name-dropped the Deke series, which, interesting. All of a sudden, everything is within the realm of possibility.
Steve, I think I even shot you a message this morning, and I'm like, I've got my money on them doing GI Joe Extreme as well.
I think Iron Claw would be a seller. I don't know if the others have the kind of visual impact.
I think it's a case of like having them as O-rings would just put a new light on them, regardless of how cool they are, quote unquote.
It just occurred to me that in an O-ring format, the extreme body types would lend themselves more to like the new sculpt look. You know, big shoulders, tiny heads.
No,
big
totally.
feet.
But I would still love to see those characters. I think it'd be cool to have them because then they can play with your other Joes. So that's what gets me excited about that. Not that I'm the biggest Extreme fan. I think of the two of us, you're the bigger fan of Extreme.
Black Dragon.
Exactly. There you go.
Guys,
So ridiculous, but it's cool. Like
endless.
And that's the thing. So like when we're talking about this, how should we do this? Should we talk about like we're sort of getting into the news, and then should we like speculate? How do you want to do this? Because there's so many.
I'm going to have a bit of fun right now because I have various wonderful GI Joe sort of DMs, private message groups on Facebook, on WhatsApp, on whatever message service, be it the local sort of Brisbane crowd or the greater community at large. There are GI Joe podcasts that have a group together. One of them exploded with possibilities, with ideas of what figures could find their ways into these waves. We quickly went off track into like the realm of like complete obscurity. It basically became like a can I name the most obscure character that GI Joe has ever had contest. So it might be quite amusing as maybe an exercise in deep cuts, and for you, the viewer, to see if you can follow me along this rabbit hole and see how many of these you actually can place. If you have even a passing familiarity with one of them, with all of them, with some of them, then consider yourself a GI Joe hardcore. Let me start.
Whatever that means.
Baby, brace yourself. Yeah. Here we go. Pythona.
Yeah.
Raven. The Arctic Shaman guy from Master Vice.
Yeah.
Venom.
And there's a reaction of him as well. So yeah.
Yeah, of course, with the sled. Dr. Venom. Dawn Moreno. The Blind Master. The Soft Master. Billy. Big Lob. Night Creeper Leader from Deke. The Viper. Mangler. Cool Breeze. Bongo the Balloon Bear. George Strawhacker. That guy. I think his name was Serpent Man.
Fabulous Manta Ray. Yeah.
Exactly. Wingfield. Yeah, he does look like something from TNMT.
He totally does.
In the vehicles camp, the Sea Legs. Gosh, is that from
those things? Yeah.
Sea Strike, the Herb Trimpe issue in the top of the first 10 issues. What was it? Issue 5?
Those Triffid-looking things. Yeah.
Issue 8. Yeah. An OG shooter, Jody Shooter Craig, or I suppose the person that looks like whoever that finger was on top of in issue 1, Scarface, the Cobra Courier. The vehicle that transported the crystals. Oh yes, the crystals that blow up. That thing.
Yes, and Captors of Cobra. Yeah,
yeah, which is similar to the RTV from issue 6 and 7 of ARA. The transport from issue 10. Oh, it goes on and on. Mutt's Uncle Jeff. In fact,
Mutt's
all the
Uncle
extended
Jeff.
family. God, we then
like going, Spirit's family and
we went crazy. Yeah. Scarlet's family came up. El Jefe, Colonel Sharif, the Emir of Benzine. Man. Okay, so
what about that clown? What's his name? That clown
White Clown, Magda, Orlovsky. So it was mentioned that Billy's mother could get a figure, and I saw that and I raised it. Scarlet's sister, Siobhan, I think her name was. She was going to take Scarlet off life support. Man, it keeps going. Spigu, Mara, big one. Shipwreck Squeeze.
Dude, I'm like waiting for Mara.
I just want to have a sexy scene on the beach, man. Shipwreck, Mara, just like intercut that. Play some jazzy music.
You want to Barbie your toys up, eh?
Dude, I do want to ship my toys, man. That is the chief reason why Super 7 needs to make this happen. Give me some girls. I'm dying here. Yeah. That's a play motion that secretly or not so secretly I'd love to shoot. So, Paul, do you have a top 5 in mind? A kind of a dream list of figures that you would love to see, deep cuts? Because need I say it one more time? Super 7 producing these, they're gonna have the bog standard, the Scarlets, the Dukes, the Baronesses, the Cobra Commanders, but mixed in with that,
we're gonna have all the fun stuff.
The fun stuff. I think the Funhouse Cobra Commander robots, the Games Master drones, which are these guys. With clown faces on.
With clown faces, exactly. I'm going to say it now just before I reveal this top 5, because I think I feel like this is a good precursor for that. I think Super 7 with the reaction line, and I'm not even talking GI Joe reaction line, I'm talking about the reaction line from the beginning. I think the first one I ever saw was McCready at a comic store, and Ripley were the first two I ever saw. And Super 7 has actually been giving us blue balls as O-ring collectors since they revealed that, because ever since they did that, I have been going, oh my god, I really want O-rings of these figures. And that is kind of, that has grown, that need has grown. In fact, so much so that I've felt kind of a little empty as a GI Joe collector in some respects, because these are the things that I wanted to have in my life, is O-ring versions of stuff I really love, characters I really love, which is why, when you were away in Asia, I asked you to grab me an Indiana Jones because I love having these like weird characters as, okay, he's not an O-ring, but at least it's 3/4 or 4-inch, so that's like kind of exciting. So Super 7, Brian Flynn and the gang, you guys have been giving us serious blue balls now. So I'm super happy that you have finally made this announcement.
All those licenses. Do you think they can go back and make O-ring Motu, O-ring Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
I would actually be happy with like if they started taking some of their stuff from Reaction Line and making it O-ring, like Ash from Evil Dead, the Terminator, Ellen Ripley, the crew of the Nostromo, all that kind of stuff. I would love that. That would be amazing. But I think let me try and stay on topic here with the GI Joe stuff now, and just focus in on the GI Joe stuff more. So I think the reason we're getting so excited about this is not necessarily just a return to O-rings. I mean, there's a lot of companies that are doing O-rings now, independents and things, and it's great. I think this is exciting, and Steve, you mentioned it earlier, because of these groups exploding with deep cut characters and things like that. We're excited at the possibility of what if, for like almost 40 years we've had, or for 40 years actually, we've had Scarlet, Duke, Snake Eyes, Cobra Commander, et al. Right? And it's great, and we love these characters, and we love this stuff, and we see it a lot. But we need these little like gaps to be filled in from our childhood, like the Sunbow stuff. And so my top 5 list is gonna be. It's not gonna be as deep cut as like Agent Strawhacker, like whatever, or George Strawhacker, like nothing like that. But for me, it's simple. I would love Mara. I would love Raven. And when I saw them on the animated series, I was like, oh my god, these characters are so important. Why have we never gotten toys of them? Dr. Venom is really cool. Not the top of my list, but just something that I think is cool. But yes, Mara and Raven, big time in there. So who else?
Quinn. If you're gonna do Dr. Venom.
Yeah, I would like to have a Quinn. A Quinn would be cool in O-ring. And I'd love to see like what's that? I'd love to see like a Synthoid as well, like like them doing like kind of like a weird Synthoid pack or something of some of the characters, and then maybe like have it like
the character themselves, or would they be kind of in a state of decomposition?
Yeah, I'd love like that like decomposition mode, that like silvery man kind of state. Like fatal fluffies, like they're the stupidest thing ever, but that would be cool to have. I'm sorry, now I'm like spinning off. I mean, I haven't really had a chance to just get into like what is important to me, because all of it is.
Are you thinking that they could push the envelope in terms of the O-rings dimensions? So a good example is the later era of O-ring construction from Hasbro had the Mortal Kombat license. They made a Goro figure. He was taller, he was broader, he had 4 arms. So by that token, would you say Super 7 might push the envelope to make an O-ring Fatal Fluffy?
Totally.
Or
I think
Rama,
they could totally do.
Rama, the sort of Conan-looking barbarian dude from the Master Vice.
Master Vice, yeah. I think that kind of thing is very possible. Yes, Hasbro has done it, but the 3D Joes, their stuff that's coming out. I mean, they've got 1 or 2 characters that have like Operation Recall. Thank you. Sorry, I couldn't recall. I'm just too excited with everything. But they've kind of set a standard with that now already, because they've got that luchador character who's already got kind of a bigger body type. And
I think it was Ozzy, the ex-Russian military dude who has he's got a gut. I'm like, that's interesting.
That is interesting
to be a bit heavy set.
Also, like, think about the possibility of like getting O-ring figures that are going to be in essence based on their cartoon appearances. So like Bazooka might have a bit of ghost to him, which would be quite cool. I think.
I'm thinking not like horror show. Horror show.
Yeah, horror show.
Big boy.
The October God would be great. Thank you.
Who had appearances in the cartoon?
Yes, definitely. Was that a rare Pipeline episode? Yeah,
rare instance of the cartoon taking cognizance of developments in the comic book.
How rad would it be to get those ghosts from the Sunbow episode? That would be cool, man. I would love to get some of Baroness's disguises.
Is it called the Phantom Brigade episode?
Yes. and get some of Baroness's disguises. I mean, we recently covered Hold Down the Heavens, and it had one of Baroness's disguises, that doctor whatever who
Imp
gets
Whistle. Maybe not that disguise, because that is blackface.
Yeah, okay, true, but the thing is that character, like what maybe by extension have that character.
Sure.
Like that is cool. We need that. So I'm hoping that we get a whole supporting line, like support force, which is just all the supporting cast of Sunbow. That in itself would make me super happy, because of the diorama stuff that you can set up for toy photography, the play motion that we can do with it, the adventures you could have at home by yourself, with it. It's awesome. Having the family, you mentioned the family members, and then Hector Ramirez must happen. I want 20 questions, Hector Ramirez, so badly. And his cameraman. Yeah.
And once again, Baroness in disguise. This time as a man.
Yeah. And yeah, exactly, man. And then also, this is why I was scared of doing a top 5 pick, because if I go a top 5 pick, it would all be Cold Slither. And Mara and Raven, so it's 6 and 7. That would fucking slay me. Sorry, that would, like, pardon the language, but that would slay me.
Even if they're going to come out swinging, so they're going to come out with some fresh material. But even if the first few waves were literally 1-to-1 conversions of what Reaction has given us already, we would have GI Joe sailors. We would have new Cobra blue shirts, new GI Joe green shirts, animation accurate models. We would have pilots. We would have like mechanic staff, like the female mechanics with this sort of orange, sort of rust colored overalls. Amazing. Great army builders, great hole fillers. And of course you're going to get your Snake Eyes, your Scarlets, but looking gorgeously Sunbow accurate.
Yeah, totally. And also, like, without breaking crotches, hopefully. And then in different gear, like Arctic gear and diving gear. And I think you don't really see it in the cartoon, but like desert gear, but they don't ever really do that. Ooh, that gives me a vehicle I want. I want shipwrecks, makeshift desert.
The sand boat. What is it?
Sand boat thing. Yeah, that's
sand skimmer.
That would be cool to have. Sparks.
Oh,
be cool to have Sparks. Yeah, be cool to have Sparks. It's just the possibilities are endless. With
Admiral Ledger. In case you wanted to kick Keelhaul off your flag and have the cartoon sort of captain or admiral captain of the boat.
That's actually a very good one. That's a cool one.
So you mentioned a possibility for vehicles. I've already kind of touched on a few.
I'm sure you have.
I wouldn't mind seeing. Do you have any more burning suggestions? I typically fall back onto like almost pre-production design sheets, like stuff that you see in the mass device, all had, they were released in the line later on. You had like a prototype claw. Instead, the Cobra Troopers kind of rode on top as opposed to underslung. You had the sort of hovering assault platform, that sort of circular thing. You had the GI Joe frame that had like crab or not spider feet to climb up the mountainside that you could put a mauler into. Like these are all fabulously like old school sci-fi designs, which would be no-brainers, I guess.
So cool.
Of course.
And also I love
that kind of diving bell.
Yes, dude.
Tube worms. It's like
I think
horrible beastie to fight in your bathtub.
Now I wonder, I'm hoping, because at $20 a piece, I'm imagining you're going to get
price. So he said he's going to try and keep it around $20. That is the goal, but it's TBC. He's not going to be nailed down. Brian Flynn, in the Pixel Dan interview, he's not going to be nailed down to a price just yet. But yeah, he's hoping to keep it in line with the Reaction price point.
Well, that would be amazing. But if they have to keep it in line with the Reaction price point and the tooling is more expensive on those articulated figures, gear is going to be an issue. So we might only see 1 or 2 pieces of gear with these figures. So I don't know if we're going to get so much of a callback to like vintage
a gun
era.
And a pistol. That's what you get with Snake Eyes.
I think with Storm Shadow, I just get a sword. I think it was. Anyway, I'll double check now. But
Buddy, if they are compatible, you've already got all the gear you possibly need.
exactly, right? But here's the thing. This is what I think would be cool.
This is what I've been waiting for. This is my sweet spot. This is all I've ever wanted. I'm not a classified collector. I'm not a Transformers collector. This is it. I didn't want toys to replace my cherished old school toys. I wanted toys to complement them. Yeah. That's what Super 7 does. They're not trying to replace your nearest and dearests. They're not trying to compete with what's come before. They're trying to complement it.
Exactly, right? And then, I mean, and then also give us like maybe the Sunbow versions of something. So with the accessories, right? If every figure is at like
Coca-Cola, yeah.
I had some of that Future Coke. Anyway, I'll get into that later. So maybe, I don't know, is this the podcast for it? No, not really. So you got like $20 of it with a reaction figure. It's like a toy, or the figurine, and 2 accessories. So I imagine, hopefully, the new O-rings, they can kind of keep that standard. Just having the 2 accessories would be nice. A super bonus, and I think Super 7 would be smart to consider this, and I'm pretty sure they have already, because they are a smart toy company with certain things like this. But I think we're going to start getting like interesting cartoon only or deep cut only accessories with figures. So it might relate to the character or it might not relate, but I think that would be a way for like Super 7 to encourage people to try and buy the whole line and not just cherry pick their favorites, like skipping over those Dr. Burkhardts and not that we'll get, and maybe we will get Dr. Burkhardt, for example.
Yeah, issue 1, baby. And
totally, but like
many subsequent hostage situations since then.
Yeah, exactly, right. So I think it would be cool.
Kept on getting captured.
Yeah, I know. Like, get a security company and a bodyguard. But I think it would be so cool if they could do that, or because Super 7 has done this in the past, releasing accessory packs, like packs with accessories for these figures. Or for this world, like a Sunbow pack part 1, and it's got like stuff like Oda Cobra and all that included with it. If it's not already included with the Baroness figure, that also gets me super excited. It's like the accessories, the potential for accessories, more so than vehicles. I gotta say, like, it's the biggest thing that we lose out with as GI Joe fans, and it's also the thing that I feel like all of these third-party companies don't really consider. They're all about like making every single gun from like the 2022, gun show, but we don't get props. Yes, I'm looking at guys like, Marauder and those guys who have done a lot of stuff, but they got very minimal props and toy photography.
Marauders Marauder's the one example that does do a lot of Dio stuff. They've always kept up an inventory of like Dio pieces.
But I've always, for me, I just felt that it's been like it's been stuff that stays within the theme, and I understand why they do that, but it just would be cool to have more things, like more proppy type things. Sorry, I need more plastic. I would love it if we start getting Diorama's actual scenes and stuff. That's, believe it or not, that's easy to do, and maybe that's something. I will leave that for maybe our Patreons.
I kind of like the approach that Super 7 have kind of started going down with their presentation. Like if you look at the box sets, the Primitive Darkness one, for instance, that had the Great Snake Rules Forever robot and Shipwreck and the Snakelings. So it seems like they could maybe potentially expand into the idea that the box becomes a diorama.
I would love that. Just
it was an exquisite presentation. Like perhaps too good a presentation for the figures that it held. I mean, 5 POA guys. I suppose you want to keep it in its box then, because those things you can't really play with. So maybe would you be opposed to like cardboard goods?
No, Paul? I'm down with cardboard goods, big time. As long as they're printed on a matte stock. Like when they print them on glossy, it sucks because then it's like a pain to light them up.
Yeah.
But if they could do it on matte stock, and if they even lent into it, like if Super 7 decided to lean into that and it kind of turned them into like things that you actually build up as part of like your box sets or whatever that come with it, that would be amazing. By the way, Super 7, I'm available. Just saying. I don't only come up with good ideas, I know how to implement them. So anyway, but this is super exciting. I know we've said super a lot because it's Super 7 and everything, but I mean,
we've also said exciting a lot.
We have said
pumped.
exciting a lot.
I've been itching to have this
pumped.
conversation with my man Paul for an entire day right now.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, it's we're approaching midnight here in the Aussie land. So yeah, I've been,
and I'm
climbing up the wall, scratching the wallpaper. Come on, Paul. Come on, let's get on the bloody microphone.
I was watching. I mean, I watched this video with with Dan, with Pixel Dan, and I'm like, I just immediately sent it to like Steve. Like I was like 30 seconds in, I'm like, Steve, if you haven't seen it already, here, watch. It's insane.
Paul, temper your enthusiasm ever so slightly before we head out the door and leave you good folks to just ruminate on these developments. We have to address the big, bad, grey snake ship in the room, the Cobra Mothership.
Yes.
We are in the final 10 days of the campaign. It needs just north of 2,500 backers to push it over just the first hurdle, the funding goal, the initial funding goal. Is this going to make it? I'm going to pin you down right now on this date.
Okay, this is what I'm going to say now. It doesn't hurt that I really like the thing, okay? I think it's amazing. But here's the thing. Them releasing the O-ring news now, I don't know if this was always part of the plan, but I feel like it was part of their get out of jail free card. Not or it's a bit of a Hail Mary play. I think O-rings were going to be announced after the snake ship funded. And I think because the snake ship funding is not climbing as quickly or as progressively or consistently as they'd like, I think they've announced the O-rings here. The specific wording that Brian Flynn used, he went, you can use your O-rings and your reaction figures in this thing. Like he specifically said it as if to just remind people that actually you can play with O-rings in this thing, that it has been considered. And then they also moved the O-rings, I think it was from tier 3 to tier 1 now, as part of the unlockables.
So it always came with a single O-ring figure and a single reaction figure, the Viper Gunner. Now they have increased the complement to 4. Yes. However, the two new figures, the new reaction, the new Viper Gunner O-ring, they have different colorways and slightly different construction. As we said on our snake ship episode, I think it was episode 301 of the podcast, I zoomed in on the legs and showed you that these are not Viper legs. These legs are the Battle Android Trooper legs. They are getting the snake ship, the mothership campaign to pay for the tooling on not only their Viper, for the most part, they'll change the mask to make a O-ring style Viper, but they're also getting a head start on the Battle Android Trooper, sneaking in that lower half. You've paid for half your tooling, money for free, basically, money up front. Cha-ching! Make that back.
Yeah, but that's smart. And I mean, they're probably, like, if they're watching this, they're probably having a good laugh at like our speculation. Hi. But like, we're excited, and I think that this thing is going to fund now. I think it's got a much better chance of funding now that people feel that GI Joe fans, I think their biggest schism here has been a lot of them have gotten rid of their O-ring collection in favor of getting classifieds. And so the snake ship is now something they really want, but now if they have it, what are they going to do? They're going to put their last remaining 5 GI Joes in there? Yeah. So
being pulled apart in 2 different directions. Absolutely.
Exactly. And I think that's one of the things. And then I think the other thing is, as GI Joe fans, I like the reaction figures. I just unfortunately can't commit to that with my credit card because I'd rather spend all of that money on like the O-rings that they want to do than buy reaction figures. And I'm pretty sure Joe fans feel that way. I mean, that's the temperature of the room when it comes to reaction figures. Most guys are like, oh, they're crap or whatever, and they wait for them to come down. No, but that's what guys say. I mean, unfortunately, or guys wait for them to come down on clearance at Ross or wherever the hell it is, and then they're going to pick up a whole bunch for themselves for like $5 a piece and stuff. And that's not a good precedent. Those kind of consumers are not the kind of guys who are going to now go and put a lot of money into something like the snake ship, or at least a small percentage of them will do that. But now that they know, oh wait, hold on,
There's a future.
I got to get this. There's a future for this. Then
Not
I
only
think
a
the
future,
investment
but
changes.
a bright future.
Yes.
That Super 7 are able to somehow, I mean, they've made a pact with the devil maybe or something. They are able to consistently bring out a proliferation of product. Like reaction figures are, I mean, forgive me, but they're almost as proliferated in a fan store as pops.
Yeah.
They're very much in the same camp.
It's the same type of line. Yeah.
Collectibles, as floor to ceiling. It looks like the 80s with these 5.
At least they're better than pops.
Yeah, they are absolutely. Yeah. Imagine the kind of distribution that Super 7 enjoy globally, and now it's a toy that we actually want to buy. GI Joe at mass retail, like you can walk into a shop and put 5 carded figures in your trolley and walk out smiling, baby, and then come back the next week and do the same thing.
But I got him toys.
$20 a pop. I know. We're hemorrhaging money, but this, as I said before, this is the one thing that I wanted. Everything else that I've been buying has been useless tat to this point, spinning my wheels, wanting to be a consumer, but not really keen to jump in and swim on anything that's currently offered. Finally, someone's playing the tunes I want to hear.
Yeah, and that's it. And I think the strategy here, and this is also complete speculation, but I think when Hasbro did the classified and they prevented Super 7 from doing O-rings, because I mean that is quite well known. Super 7 wanted to do O-rings, but they haven't going to get the green light, blah blah blah. So part of this is actually because Super 7 has been given the green light, and I think it's because Hasbro wanted to build their classified consumer base, and now they've done that. So now they've got their classified consumer base. They don't feel
they don't need a hedge.
Scared. They don't need to hedge their bets anymore. They can be like they can go all in on classified, and they can let somebody who's way more interested in doing the O-rings and doing a 3 3/4 inch scale figure line do that line, and that is Super 7.
And doing Honolulu West.
Honolulu, dude.
Why not?
Quick Kick's girlfriend, man. Man. I can't remember her name, but yep, her. Like, just it's. I mean,
let me just put it on record.
Earlier.
I'm going to put on record that the snake ship will fund. It will take some massaging, perhaps, but eventually it'll get there. Maybe not in these 10 days. Let's not lose sight of the fact that, I mean, it's a different campaign by a different company, but even Unicron needed extra time.
Yeah.
It'll get there. I think we should tie this one up in a big bow, Paul, unless there's anything else you'd like to add, man. We've been going hard, we've been going quick, just how I like it. And hopefully, like this time next year, get pumped, guys, because it's coming. If you, like me, are really gagging for this stuff, get ready, because you're going to be plastered with so much product you won't know what to do with. I think do with yourself.
And I think the smart money should start putting $20 aside every month until fall next year, so that when the line comes out, you are ready. Yeah, bro. Like this is going to be exciting, and it's going to be nice to have. It's just going to be so great. It's going to give me a whole bunch of new creative avenues to explore for this. It's going to make our play motion super cool. Yeah, no, super excited, guys.
Characters that I've been contemplating trying to like customize O-ring figures to make. And I'm like, no, that won't work. Those parts suck. This is our ticket. Factory produced, actual licensed GI Joe O-ring figures of new characters, concepts, looks.
It's gonna be magic. Just
please let there be no detractors like oversized heads or crummy parts or issues with the construction. Please.
Yeah, that's all I care about is the quality of the plastic. Like, as long as it's not gonna snap, the hands can be a little bit like squidgy, so that the thumbs don't break when they hold weapons. That's all they really need. And cool articulation. As it is, maybe this is just because I have an over fondness with the vintage line, but the O-ring shape on Super 7's current samples that they've shown us, I'm not like that much of a fan of, but I think it's just because I'm very in love with the vintage aesthetic, and I have to see the actual toy in my hand. And that changes the game completely. So I don't want to like go and say good or bad, yeah or nay or anything right now, because we actually haven't seen anything. We've seen nothing.
They seem to have pinned shoulders, unless I'm mistaken. They do not have the anodized rivet. But
So
time will tell. They are a year away from finding our hands. So
I want my cold
anything
slither
could
pack.
happen.
And then it must come with a music box. Like with it,
of course.
let's have a music box. All of them should have like instruments. It'll be great, and like it should have collateral inside, like cold slither posters and like little cold slither vinyl. Otherwise, I'm just gonna have to make them
Super
myself.
7, hire this man.
Dude, like let's play with toys, man. Let's do it.
Yo, Jiggity Joe.
Joe. Berg. That's going dangerously into Mambo number 5 territory. Not gonna carry that one on.
Later, Joes.